Today we're going to read about the silly Scarecrow. After breakfast one morning, Emily Elizabeth cuddled Clifford in her arms. It's nearly time to head to Mountain View Farm, Clifford. We are going on a hayride today, she said excitedly. Clifford wagged his red tail. While Emily Elizabeth went to get dressed, Norval called out to Clifford. Be careful on your trip to the farm today, Norval said. My bird friends tell me there's something scary lurking in the cornfields out there. During the trip to the country, Clifford tried to enjoy the scenery. The mountains sparkled with fall colors and leaves, danced around the train. But as Clifford could think about But all Clifford could think about was the monster of Mountain View Farm. It wasn't long before they arrived. Come on, Clifford. Time for the hayride, Emily Elizabeth announced. Clifford felt very nervous, but this place didn't look scary at all. In fact, it looked quite fun. Emily Elizabeth lifted Clifford into the back of a farm trailer. It was loaded with bales of hay. It felt stiff and crunchy under Clifford's paws. The trailer bustled and bumped its way around the farm. First they drove by the apple orchard. Next they stopped in the pumpkin patch. Then the farm truck made a turn. They were headed straight toward the cornfield. The corn surrounded them on both sides, casting large shadows. Clifford suddenly felt even tinier than he was. And then he saw it. Hovering over Clifford was a scary monster waving his hands about. It was the monster of Mountain View Farm. Clifford quickly dove into the hay to hide. The Howard family looked at one another confused. What's wrong, Clifford? What are you hiding from? Emily Elizabeth asked. A moment later, the trailer stopped. Emily Elizabeth hopped out and looked around to see what the trouble was. Suddenly, she pointed and said, I think I know what is frightening you. She carried Clifford over to get a closer look at what was scaring him. As they approached, Clifford hid his face in Emily Elizabeth's chest. But Emily Elizabeth reassured him. Don't worry, Clifford. It's nothing to be afraid of. Take a look. Clifford looked up and cocked his head. In front of him was the monster of Mountain View Farm. But this monster didn't look so scary anymore. It was made of cloth and wore navy blue suspenders and a peaked hat. Its feet and hands were made of hay and its nose was a felt triangle. See, Clifford, it's just a silly scarecrow, Emily Elizabeth explained. They were used to scare the birds away from the corn so they don't eat it. Clifford wasn't scared anymore. He was ready to play. I guess I shouldn't believe everything I hear, he thought. The end.